Long time no see. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, Antoinette. Antoinette?
Sorry, hi, how are you?
We're good. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming. Antoinette is observing our class. So everyone, please welcome Antoinette. Would you please introduce yourself? I'm sorry, I'm sick
No,
today.
don't worry. I'm a little bit sick too, so I understand. So hi everyone. Good evening, I guess. My name is Antoinette, and I'm here to just observe your class. Not so much you, but just the curriculum, making sure that everything is in order because we do have the ministry that does inspect the schools. So and we're going to be doing one of those soon. So just to make sure that everything is happening correct in the class and that, everything is good. And if your teacher needs any help with anything, I'm here for that too. I have been teaching for 16 years now, and this course is something that I've taught a lot in the last 16 years. So if anybody has any extra questions or needs any help, I'm here too. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to be here quietly unless there's a question for me or anything like that. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great class. Like I said, I'll just be sitting here listening.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. You were supposed to present your findings, your research findings, or the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, and we need to start working on the first act in The Tempest. So I just wanted to check if Safa and Yusuf, are you ready for presentation, or you prefer to keep it for the coming class?
I'd prefer to keep it for the coming class.
Okay. How about you, Safa?
Same.
All right, perfect. So the coming class, we'll be discussing the oral assignment, the findings of the research. And for now, excuse me, I have a severe cold, so bear with me. We just wanted to continue. We had one class about the drama and what is to expect when you are reading Shakespeare plays. And let's now look at the remaining of the, you remember the terminology that you can encounter when you are doing the play. So the glossary that we have been doing, we just wanted to confirm the different types of the different the different types of terminology that you might face. Wording. Okay. So we discussed the main terminology that we can see in play. We talked about the soliloquy. We talked about the conflict, the comic relief, the aside, and what is the antagonist, what is the protagonist. And we just wanted to get to know some of the literary types here, the genre. We have the fable, which is a brief story with explicit moral provided by the author. And these kind of story typically include animal character. And the best book to read about is Animal Farm, where you see how it depicts what is happening in revolutions in general, and with a more focus on the Russian Revolution. We talk about the concepts and the message that the author wants to tell. We also get to know the term, which is fiction in general. It's any imagined story, whether it is prose or poetry or drama. You could tell that this a real story or if it is a fiction. We have a term called the flashback, which is an interruption of a work's chronology to describe or present an incident that occurred prior to the main time frame of the work action. You will see this very obvious in The Tempest. We'll look at some of the events that happened before the theater opens, before we as audience could watch the play running on stage in front of us, something that happened before. You might notice that in cinema or in movies or anything, they give you the feeling that the hero and the heroine are thinking about something that happened in the past, and sometimes they picture it in black and white. So to give you the feeling that it is a flashback. Foil is the character who contracts and parallels the main character in a play or a story, like Laertes in Hamlet. So remember, we have the antagonist, the protagonist, and also we have this character that is kind of paralleling the main character, like a buddy or a friend. Foreshadowing, and this you will see also in the play, and we have some questions related to that. Foreshadowing is hints of what is to come in the action of a play or a story. Remember when we talked about Macbeth? The three witches, when they started saying that beware of the Ides of March. So this is something that has to do with a deeper event that will come at a later point. The gesture is the physical movement of a character during a play. It is really, really important when you are reading the scenes in Shakespeare plays to visualize the movement of the character and what is the gestures they used. Like Hamlet, when he saw the ghost of his father, he was beckoning with his hand to the ghost. So the gesture, we could also pay extra attention to these. All what I'm talking about, these points, you need to highlight when you are doing analyzing for a certain act, as you will see in the coming moments. So you need to take care and write few lines related to the poetical devices or the literary devices that are depicted in the scene. We have the irony, we talked about it earlier in the short stories. However, again, it's a contrast between what is said and what is meant, or between what happens and what is expected to happen. Like when you say, when you know that there is somebody who's really, really evil, and you say, welcome, the nice guy is here. And you don't mean that he or she is a nice guy, but you wanted to say it in an ironical mode. The props is really, really important, because what are the characters holding in their hands? It's important. Like if a character is having a sword, or a character is having a plate of fruit, all of these are really important because they have an effect on the scene. So articles or objects that appear on stage during a play. So I want you to be observant as per the reading. What is the character doing? What is the character wearing? What are they holding? And their movement from the side to up, down, and all of that should be taken into consideration. We have another genre, which is the satire, which is a literary work that criticizes human misconduct. You wanted to criticize something, and you wanted to, to somehow scold the person, but you don't want it to be so obvious. So writers often go to light tactique, we call it satire, where you try to criticize certain elements, but in a indirect way. Stage direction, of course, you know that this is really important for us to see how the characters are moving. So any playwright gives a description or comments that provide the readers and the actors with information about the dialogue. Because if you are watching a play, then you will see the actors doing the directions between brackets. But if you are reading it, you need to know or to visualize, to imagine how the characters are doing. The tragedy, and it's the opposite of comedy, as we spoke earlier in the last class. The tragedy is the type of drama in which the character experience or reveals something that is unfortunate or usually the worst, tragedy, catastrophe, all of them suffering for certain characters, or the end is somehow dark. We spoke earlier about the opposite type, which is the comedy, and we highlighted that not necessarily when we say romance or romantic ending, not necessarily to be like a love story between two people, but it is rather than ended in a happy tone or ended in resolved issues at the end of the play. The tragic flow, it's a weakness or limitation of character, resulting in the fall of the tragic hero. Like in Othello, Othello's jealousy and too trusting nature is one example. All right, so the tragic flow, there is some characteristic or some fault in this character that will give symbols of the downfall of this character, like too much hesitation, like too much ambition, like too much knowledge, as you will see in our play today. The tragic hero, of course, it's the character of high repute who, by virtue of a tragic flaw and fate, and this character mostly suffers a fall from glory into suffering, right? So when you see somebody who's really a great leader, and then you see him falling down, like King Lear, he started as a powerful king and having all the elements in his hands, everything in his hands, and then we saw the tragic fall of King Lear by the end. All right, so far, any questions?
No.
All right. Okay, so here is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna get to know the beginning of the Tempest. This today I have placed classwork on the Google Classroom for you to work, but let's take it one step by step. So you will watch a video describing you the first act, first scene of the Tempest, and then afterwards we'll see how to analyze an act or a soliloquy, because this is like pretty much expected in your exams, okay? So let me share the video and we will discuss it. After watching the video, I want you to give me orally brief, what do you think the story going to be about, and what you can tell about the elements introduced in the first act, scene one, and who are the characters mentioned here. Okay, let's pay extra attention, please.
In Act 1, Scene 1 of The Tempest, sailors on board a ship are caught in a fierce, raging thunderstorm on their journey from the north coast of Africa to Italy. As they work to take down the sails to save the ship, the noble passengers, Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Ferdinand, and Gonzalo, come above board. Tensions rise when the boatswain insists that the noblemen return below deck. Furthermore, the boatswain is irritated by the noblemen because they're loud and disrupt the work of the sailors. He bellows at them, "You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm." When they remind the boatswain of their importance, he points out that while they have authority over men, they have none over nature, which is clearly beyond their control. Sebastian, Antonio, and Gonzalo reappear, and Sebastian and Antonio are rude to the boatswain, calling him names. Gonzalo says that the boatswain should remember the authority of the passengers they have on board. More sailors appear, wet and weary from trying to save the ship. King Alonso, his son, and others pray desperately because it is clear the ship is destined for destruction. The ship breaks apart, and Gonzalo acknowledges that they are all going to drown. The play opens in the midst of a chaotic scene, a tempest, or a violent windy storm that hints at the supernatural power of forces beyond human control. Soon the characters will face more magic on a very unique island. For now, the tremendous power of nature is more powerful than any human, despite the royal authority on board the ship. Whether king or servant, all are human and powerless before storms that they cannot control. The crisis on board the ship reveals both the conflict between the classes and the nature of several of the characters. The class hierarchy on the ship is clear. The sailors do the hard work of sailing the ship, and they are at odds with the demanding, obnoxious noblemen, because the boatswain knows they will all be dead if the sailors cannot save the ship. The first scene of Act 1 also introduces readers to some of the character qualities of Antonio and Sebastian, who respond to the boatswain with harsh cursing. Both men use their authoritative power to verbally abuse someone with less power. This conflict between ruler and subject begins to develop the theme of exploitation and power that will weave its way through the entire play.
Okay. So please let me know what you have got understanding of the first act, scene 1. Safa and Yusuf, go ahead.
I think based on from the scene 1, there's like the hierarchy of authority is pretty obnoxious from the people on the ship, and that it's not very fair that they have this much authority, and the weather kind of like shows that a man doesn't always have the authority in the world, and it shows the character personality of being obnoxious and acting powerful, very egotistic, and exploitation.
Yes, thank you so much. This is a very good interpretation of an important theme that it presented from the very early beginning of the play, which is the abuse of power, right? We see the verbal abuse of powerful commanding from Antonio and Sebastian. All right, thank you so much. Yusuf, what can you tell me about the characters introduced? Briefly.
Yes, so clearly I can tell that Antonio, he's power hungry, and that he's also manipulative, and he has a cynical outlook. We can also see that he's manipulative because he manipulates Sebastian, and we also know that Sebastian is easily influenced. So that's one of the character qualities that he has. Because he's easily swayed by Antonio's manipulation.
Yes, of course. So do you think these are minor characters or the main principal ones? Remember when we did a small search on Shakespeare's style, how he uses what to create what? Can you remember that? Are these going to be the protagonist, the antagonist? Are they the main characters? Or do you think they would be minor characters, however, they will cause an effect? And as you can see, Shakespeare is using them to highlight a certain theme or a certain message.
I don't think they're not the main characters, but they're important to the narrative. They're like supporting characters because they contribute to the themes of power and betrayal or like moral corruption.
Very good, very good. All right, so I will give you time to work on Act 1, Scene 1. I have already uploaded the text for you to read. I know that it is not easy to read like, the Old English, but we're going to take it step by step. But for now, I just wanted to highlight if you are having a quotation or a certain scene when you have questions related to analyzing what you need to take care, what you need to put in mind and write about when you are doing your analysis. So first of all, when you are having any quotes, you need to underline the key terms. So we'll take it step by step, knowing that none of you ever studied anything for Shakespeare. But again, for grade 12 university level, you have to have some Shakespeare. I'll go with you step by step and show you how to, to start analyzing the scene. What are the things to look for in order to get high marks? Yeah. All right. So you need, first of all, when you see a text, you need to underline the key terms. So this strategy will help you to actually identify the key terms in the first place. What are these? So I want you to look for words you don't know, or the words you do know that tend to hold lots of meaning. So you say, okay, the writer is using this word, this word, this word. So definitely he wants to give us a positive message. Or the writer is using this word or this word and in a negative way. So you could tell from the choice of words the intention of the writer. So those are the words you want to underline, the words that you do not know their meaning for the first time, or you even know their meaning in a different context, but here it's a little bit different. So we wanted to see if there is a witch or there is an ugly person in the drama or in the play, and the writer is saying the honorable, the noble personality, and then you know that this is not a noble personality, she's evil or this or that. So what is the new meaning for this word in this context? So definitely there must be some element of irony. So this is really very helpful when you are analyzing a scene or a quotation. Now, you can paraphrase and define the key terms. You write briefly what the word means to you when removed from the quote and the context to your reading. You need to think about them by itself. If I say noble, okay, noble is something good. But here in this context, it is a little bit different. So you need to stop a little bit at those and try to figure it out. What does it usually mean, and how would you use it in a sentence? How the writer used it in a sentence, okay? You need to connect each term together. Think about the definite meaning and the connective meanings. Do this for every term you underline, and this is especially because you will see difficult or new or odd words in Shakespeare language, but you need to realize what is the meaning, okay? And of course, we have modern English writing for the same context, but you try yourself to leverage your abilities, because we want you to be like writing in depth. It is not enough for you to understand and that's it. We want you to apply the knowledge and also to understand between lines. Connect the terms to the quote and put together all the connectives and definitive meaning in order to get what is the meaning behind it. Okay? This is really important. Look for literary devices. We got this even when we were doing the short stories, if you remember. Short stories, we had we stopped a lot at the literary devices, as well as on the unit when we studied poetry. It's important to note for those the tone of the writer. Is he threatening? Is he giving you a warning? Is he giving you or delivering a negative message? Or the aim of the writer? And it shows in the tone, the choice of words, diction right away. So the writer, what type of words is he using? Okay, and the figurative language, we talked about it earlier, which is the metaphor, the similes, the imagery, alliteration, onomatopoeia, personification, irony, all of these, all the literary devices we talked about earlier, you still can apply them on the drama, the play, especially with Shakespeare. And here, these two are really, really important. We can never give you a high mark without these two, which is the literary devices. What are they? Why are they there? How the writer used them? What is the aim of using them? And of course, you need to explain the significance of the quote to show me the importance of this quote. Like, remember, I always take this example, beware of the Ides of March. The three witches kept saying that to Hamlet Macbeth in the very first act, because that was an omen. It gave us an idea of this quotation. There has a significance for it, and it will show you what will happen as a tragedy. So just remember the writing the quote, the paraphrasing, the analysis, and evaluation. You tell me what the evaluation, meaning you tell me what is the significance of this quote, why is it there, what is the importance of this quote, and how to use it. Okay?